Bright spots. Well, my husband has been doing amazing. Well, you know this, but he had a stroke in April. Incredibly scary. He had a benign tumor in his heart that broke off, traveled up his brain, and had multiple small strokes. He was in the hospital for a month because of COVID. I couldn't visit him. My daughter and I, we couldn't see him. And we thought that we were going to lose him. I thought that I was going to lose him.
Being on a podcast,
Any pitfall is too much of that.
The writing to me is it's a compulsion.
I was one of those hard workers that
I think quite honestly the fitness industry and the sports performance industry has probably done a better job in looking at nutrition as it impacts it.
Three, 2, 1, go.
Hello.
Hey, we are live, and it's episode 120. No, I don't know what.
4,672.
Yeah.
How are you?
Good. It's nice to be back.
Yeah, you're very tanned.
People tell me that. I didn't notice myself. And I got very good compliments on my new hair, so thank you, everyone. Everyone thought that this had to do with my vacation, but I actually got my haircut when I got back. So I usually try to get my haircut before vacation.
Okay.
That's usually my intention, because you go for vacation, that's usually where you do most of your photographs for the year.
Right.
And maybe some like memorable photographs that your kids will look back at or whatever.
Yeah.
And I never managed to do my haircut before vacation.
Yeah.
On time. So
all of your memorable photographs, you're gonna look like a schlub.
Yeah. Very much. That's how my kids will remember me.
No.
Yeah. How about you? You've been a staycation.
Yeah, I kind of had like a staycation, which was really nice actually, because it gave me some time to meander around, and I put my daughter in day camp, which was the best decision because she had a blast. She's 4. And they went to the museums, they went to the zoo, they'd take them to the library. But this day camp was more structured. The facilities were more clean than the Kita. I asked them at the end, I was like, can she just like remain here? And they're like, oh, the instructor is a teacher at a Kita, so like at a proper Kita. So, but she had a blast and I had a blast just having time for myself. I mean, I was still here pretty much daily training, but it was actually nice to drop into classes and be a participant in a class. Just kind of work on myself, which is a very nice thing to do. Some quiet time, which we all need that. I need that. Everybody needs that. Doesn't matter if you're a mom or a dad or, maybe not a single person because they have all the time in the world, but yeah, just to have that quiet time at home. I mean, I'm not one of those, I can't sit on the couch and, I don't binge watch things because I don't believe in binge watching. I like things to be like a special surprise. So like the next night. So, we've been watching this docu-series called 1971, the year the music changed everything. And it'd be a really interesting episode. And my husband was like, oh, let's watch another one. And I said, nope. save it for the next night. We can think about it. I've been listening to like Carole King. I've been listening to more Elton John, all this fantastic music that came out of that era. So I have the day to listen to that music, and then we watch another episode. So I package it that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're postponing the pleasure hunt.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right.
It's like you can't give it all away in one moment. You have to spread it out.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
So any other more like bright spots from you?
Bright spots. Well, my husband has been doing amazing. Well, you know this, but he had a stroke in April. Incredibly scary. He had a benign tumor in his heart that broke off, traveled up his brain, and had multiple small strokes. He was in the hospital for a month because of COVID. I couldn't visit him. My daughter and I, we couldn't see him. And we thought that we were going to lose him. I thought that I was going to lose him. Yeah. And he has made a 150% recovery. He's doing better than before. His mindset has changed so drastically. He's getting back into fitness again. He's going to be coming to see you to talk about a plan, to get to a much better level of fitness. But it really was, I have to say that, like, even though he wasn't kind of like a diehard, gym goer like maybe I am, he had a certain level of fitness that did save his life.
Yeah.
And that's saying a lot. But yeah, he did 5 weeks of outpatient recovery, cardiac recovery. And he's gone to see some like neuropsychologists, but he's, his medication just got drastically reduced this past week. So he's just getting better and better.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
I'm just thinking, like he has been, I don't know, like how long the tumor was there and so on, but he's been working on a deficit, for years probably.
Yeah.
Without knowing it, but just, all this kind of, I guess, things he felt that became normal, like feeling maybe groggy at sometimes then now, and, feeling exhausted and whatever. It's like, I remember before this happened that you were like, you told me that you get so exhausted, and does he get to that point, because it seems kind of a bit strange. And now we have kind of an idea of why that happened, and of course it's that has been like such a scary ride, and maybe something Fran would like to talk about too, like because I think it's something that could help a lot of other people to understand maybe where they are at. Also to get perspective, because I definitely got perspective from that, and I haven't been talking to much people at all about this, but I definitely got very affected of it, and but just also seeing you guys struggling with it, but being very strong about it, like really like focus and mindset on the right place all the time, which was like super encouraging to see that, okay, that's how you can be. So I think that was like very inspiring to see, and I didn't say that back then, but that was like my case. I was just like, well, you're rocking this. Like, you're having the focus on the right spot, and I know it's not easy, but I guess like a lot of that stuff that when you both went through then, now you have to start to digest that slowly, probably.
Yeah. And we absolutely are still digesting it from obviously very different perspectives. I guess you could say like PTSD from it is things like, not being able to reach him on the phone. Right. Or yesterday I got a pocket dial from his one of his colleagues. The first thing that pops into my brain is what's happening. It was a pocket dial. Frank talked to me right after that. I texted him. But it even took me a while it didn't take me that long, but it took me a few times to come back here. There was one day where I went to go drop off my daughter, and I came to the gym knowing that I wanted to work out, but I was alone in here, and it was the first time I had been back since. And I was like, nope, not today. Can't be here. And but little by little, a lot of it has to do with just trusting him and trusting myself and trusting his health. I
think it's easy to. So what happens is you get more neurotic, right?
Yeah.
And I think that can be contagious.
Yes.
So you get neurotic to anything like that. You just simply start to need to have control over everything. And it can be very tempting because you start to build up these like big walls around yourself to everything becomes like a comfort zone.
Right.
And
to protect yourself.
Yeah. And it can easily like escalate. So it's very good to have that awareness. And it's like, okay, I need to practice now. It's actually starting to take risks again, because that's the thing that you do. It's like so much of this, the risks are part of life.
Yeah.
You need to take risks to do, develop and to meet new people. You need to take a risk of like, that might be just this like real douchebag. And it might be, we constantly have to take risks. And of course, those like not stupid risk, but that's a part of life. And if you don't take them, then you're simply not having any life anymore.
Absolutely. And that's actually, I don't want to go from like what happened to my husband into a segue about CrossFit, but in many ways, what we do here, it's not necessarily taking a risk. We're not jumping off of buildings, but, something that comes to mind for me instantly is, people's fear of being inverted or upside down or kicking up into a handstand for their first time. Right. I remember you taught me how, and, it's taking that plunge. It's trusting yourself. And I think we see that a lot in here is people kind of, we see the progression of people their first time in here, just picking up a barbell and suddenly starting to put weight on it or going upside down. It's kind of like, it's momentous for people.
Yeah, and again, it's about taking controlled risks in that sense that if you're just, and this is one of the things in CrossFit, of course, it's like that if you're only doing everything super safely, super slow, you're never going to progress.
Right.
And if you don't progress, you're basically dying. Like, so that, that's why we get to those like kind of thresholds where it's like a workout where you have to express that you still can control the movement. But of course, we're going to see these, like Kelly Starrett says, like speed wobbles when it comes to like when you're at your ultimate performance. But that's also where we expand and learn. So,
but I love the methodology of like working on your weaknesses. Whereas, like in sports, like, in like baseball, it's like you have the athletes that work on only their strength, right? Being a faster pitcher, being a better hitter. being a better short. I don't know why I'm using baseball analogy. I don't even watch baseball. Anyways, but they're positions that I know. Anyways, in CrossFit, like we look forward to working on our weaknesses, which I think is such a shift in the mindset.
I'm thinking this also in a mindset of psychology. So
yes.
If you have like in psychology, you can't only work on the things you like your strengths.
Right. You won't progress.
Yeah. Like I have a phobia of something. And if you never address that phobia, well, you're not going to get rid of that phobia.
Mm-hmm.
And so that would be totally pointless to go to some kind of therapy or so on if you're scared of spiders. and you're going to a psychologist, and the psychologist, and you say like, I have a phobia to spiders, and the psychologist is like, okay, let's never talk about spiders.
Yeah, let's just avoid them at every cost. Yeah.
No, like a psychologist or a therapist in that sense, he would start to show you pictures of spiders. And slowly you're gonna start to name those spiders. That's why I asked you what was the name of the spider you saw, and
I completely dismissed you. I was like, I don't know.
Exactly. Because suddenly, like if you start to personalize it and so on, it's like, okay, that's Ralph. Then it becomes like not this foreign object and not this super distant object, but it's like, okay, so this is Ralph. Well, how many legs does Ralph have? And then it's like, let's count the legs, and it becomes more practical. So you break it down. So I'm not a psychologist or a therapist, but that's how
my mother was incredibly fearful of spiders. She still is, and she went back in like, I don't know, the 80s or something to a phobia specialist, and they put like a little spider on her hand. I think maybe not in like the first session, but like over time it progressed to like, here's a jar of a spider. Yeah. Like now you hold the jar of the spider. Now I'm gonna hold the spider, and like, so yeah, bit by bit, you start to trust the more you start to trust yourself, the fear is not as visceral, I guess.
And spiders, but spiders are special. Spiders and snakes, it seems like they are almost ingrained in our most fundamental parts of the brain. Like it goes down so deep in our structure of the brain to see those animals, because they, if you think of it biologically or evolutionary, they were like, they could be a hazard, and they definitely killed a lot of people back in the day when we were developing from even before we were monkeys. Like spiders and snakes were dangerous animals to us. So it seems like it's ingrained, and it seems to be like so much into our mythology of like what we're scared of, and symbolicism. We are scared of these kind of type of creatures moving this way and so on. But yeah, that's not the topic of today.
It's a good topic, though. Could just keep talking about this.
Yeah, but maybe fears. Maybe fears connect to this, because we wanted to talk about, how to approach workouts, and how to scale, and how to adapt workouts. And what's the mindset behind it? And I think sometimes the scaling, or the fear of, let's say, not doing it as everyone else, or the fear of letting yourself down or someone else down, can sometimes put ourselves back in our development. Right. So we try to rush something that is not.
Right.
And for example, one common fear for many is double unders, for example, and it becomes this almost thing that you don't even want to practice.
Yep.
And I mean, there are many other movements, but it becomes like almost a no-go zone, and
you avoid it.
And you avoid it, and there's kind of some fear of failure, and so on. And so that was kind of what I was thinking of that we should talk about, is how to look at stimulus of workouts and so on, and how we approach that. And it's comes down so much to our initial goals, right? If you are, let's say, not interested in double unders at all, then it doesn't make any sense to even practice them, if that makes sense. Now, for most people, that's not the case. They really want to, but then you just need to have the right mindset of how to do that. So in the case of double unders, I would say, well, every workout with the double unders is a chance to practice, rather than a moment of failure. No, it's like a small progress, even though I might not see it today, but it's like, this is a chance to practice. For others, it might be other things like weights, for example, and barbells. So you might be scared of doing too much weights because you're simply you're simply not so confident with the movements, maybe, which is totally normal. Like, just like with any movement, if you're doing handstands or so on, you're just uncomfortable, don't really know what's going on. So, okay, cool, but how can we practice? And when we come to a workout, then when it says like it's going to be squat cleans or so on, and like we had yesterday, so okay, so what's the stimulus for somebody who can't really put on that much weight? The weight we wanted to have yesterday was, for example, very heavy. But for somebody who's just getting started, maybe, or just came out of injury or has a bad knee or something, what's the stimulus? And then it's like, okay, so what if we just do a bit more? We can do more reps, for example, to practice the technique. It's going to be less weight, but still we're going to get some like time and attention and stuff like that. And if we do it that way, well, I'm going to be much closer to getting to those heavier weights, for example, in the future, than if I just don't show up.
Right.
Or if I just totally not do the movement. Same thing goes for, like, again, if I have some limitations, like I have a bad knee or so, and it's a workout with, like we had yesterday, with 4 times of 800-meter running, then it's like, oh, I can't do the workout. You can't run, no, but we can find a stimulus that is similar. So what's the stimulus? Well, we want to have heart rate going up. It's a more structural movement. So let's put you, on the assault bike or on the rower or something similar. Maybe it's even like wall ball tosses without the squat. But whatever we want to do to jack the heart rate up, that means so I can even, have a really great workout, whatever. Doesn't matter like what limitations I really have. And I see this now because I'm also started to work with this new guy here, Shai, who, he's in a wheelchair, and that's so encouraging, I think, for so many people, but also for me to see that, okay, how do I create stimulus that is optimal for him, but also makes sense for him? Like, I don't just want to replicate movements for the sake of it. No, it just has to have some function behind it. And so, yeah, you have to dig into what's the box jump for somebody in a wheelchair, right?
Right.
What's the obvious, like, adaptation for that? And it's not like super obvious, so you really need to think about it. And I think the more people see that,
Mhm.
you start to understand like there's something I can do.
Right.
So I think.
So from a head coach perspective, teaching other coaches how to talk to, especially maybe, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a new member. It can be somebody that is, coming off of injury, or somebody that, okay, for like the snatch or the squat clean, like their technique is not great, but they're in there with their buddies and they want to put on the same plates that their buddies are using. How do you teach a coach what to say to these kinds of athletes or these kinds of members?
Yeah, good question. So the coach needs to know the athletes, and you can know the athletes from many ways. It might be just because you've been coaching them forever, so you know everything about them. But it's also about pre-understanding where they come from. But it's very hard if they don't even show up. But we say somebody shows up, it's like a completely new, and I don't know anything about this person. Well, I need to start asking some questions,
right?
About like, so what is your goal? What do you want to do with this workout? And then it's like, I'm going to do this way or so on. And it's like, okay, so why?
Yeah.
And it becomes like, yeah, because this and that. Okay, cool. But then at least you can keep them accountable to something. But for somebody who is, I'm just going to take an example because it really was something that came up yesterday, was because somebody signed out of class, for example, because this person is doing a lot of running training and cardio, and yesterday was a lot of cardio. So it's like, well, I'm already running so much, so the workout yesterday is just even more running.
Okay.
And I'm just okay. And unfortunately, like this person, I haven't had the opportunity to talk to this person in almost a year, but that's something as a legacy of what we had before. But now I want to, front load that into the discussion of like, well, tell me about your running, tell me about your, mountain biking, or whatever. And it's like, well, this is the plan I'm doing. I'm going to race and so on. Okay, cool. So when it's a workout like that with 800-meter running and so on, like there's no distance for you to run 800 meters, but you never train 800 meters and then do heavy squats.
Right.
So see that as like adding, you're working with squats, you're not working at running.
Right.
And it's just a shift of mindset, but you can't really do that before you really actually have a dialogue and understand each other where you come from.
So kind of the opposite of that is so talking about scaling. When is it up? Okay, so this is going to kind of come out like it's wrong, but I'm going somewhere with it. So you have an athlete or a member that is, that, let's take a really, like the workout yesterday was 4 times 800-meter run and 5 heavy front squats or squat cleans. There are some members that are just not strong runners. They're just not strong runners. So they look at this workout, and props to them for even showing up, because it's one of those workouts where like there was a lot of cancellations. You know who you are. But like, how, for the people that do show up, that, but they come into the workout and maybe they haven't seen it and they just make up their mind already. It's running. I suck at running. I'm going to be the last one. How can you teach? What can you tell coaches how to talk to people like that have already made up their mind? They've already made the decision that today this workout is not for me.
I think if you have a weakness there, then it's a workout for you. Yeah,
absolutely.
And so what you want to address those people with is understanding their fears. And it's like, hey, I know this is a workout that you probably see the running as like, oh, I'm such a bad runner, and this is going to take forever. I'm going to slow everyone maybe down or something like that. I'm just going to get halfway or so. But that's where it comes into, and this is also so some of our members already know this per se, because they know that, hey, Rebecca is going to tell me to run 600 meters today.
Well, that was my question, is like, do you kind of knowing your members, and it's great that we're in a community where we really know our members, you know, I know this person's going to come today, but they're going to ask me, can I row instead of run?
Yeah.
Knowing that they don't have an injury, but just knowing kind of their psychology and kind of they want to do what they want to do. How, as a coach, do you know, push them without killing? Like, do you then, okay, you can run 500 meters instead? Or do you challenge them to run the 800 and see how far they can get?
The goal is to get the workout done.
Yeah.
So, you scale appropriately, or you adapt to like to get the least fear of and focus from whatever like bugs anyone. And I think this helps it's even for you or me, like if it's a workout with whatever movements that might be, you know, just on the, you know, doesn't work that well today. For example, I don't have any problems with double unders, but we say I would have like a calf issue when I see like, oh, it's like 400 double unders today. It's not a workout for me. No, I'm gonna think instead, just like I would think for an athlete, it's like, or for a member, it would be, oh, okay, so how can we still work with that calf? Yeah. Is it going to be like single leg jumps just today? For the workout, because that's still going to be hard. And I'm not going to improve my double unders today, but I'm going to still get like a good workout in, and I'm going to get a stimulus that is a bit different. But I'm not robbing myself from it's the mindset is simply, you know, okay, how can I still do something that is good? And it's not about like, you know, finding something that's more comfortable for, let's say, because it's just comfortable, right? And I think that's, for some people, it's definitely like they want to be just more comfortable. Yeah. And yeah, sometimes you just need to scale it appropriately to a comfort level that works. But yeah, I would get everyone running some distance. Yeah. And, you know, in the like worst case scenario, I would even put, you know, to do super short distance and multiple rounds instead, or something like that. But if we take the workout from yesterday as an example, I would put different goals for a bit different persons, but we say somebody who is like, I know is not going to finish 4 times 800 meters and 5 squat cleans. I would say, hey, our goal is to get 2 rounds as quick as possible. Yeah. Like that's the workout for you, because you never run 800 meters. But you probably want to become better at it. And it's like, yeah, cool. And then for somebody else who's like, you know, maybe needs to get more squat cleans in, but the running is maybe inhibiting the amount of reps the person is going to get under his belt. Yeah. Then it's like, well, let's shorten the run so you can get some more squat cleans in. Right. Makes sense. So you get all the rounds done, but you're just not going to run as much as the other guys. But that makes and it becomes like a plan in one sense to adapt, where somebody who is then like really, really fit has somebody who he really, really can compete with. Right. Yeah. And it becomes fun for both. Yeah. And I'm not saying every workout is competition. It's definitely not. But sometimes it can be really fun when you're like really, I can see this for myself as like I can be doing a workout and I could compete with my mom,
Yeah.
because she's doing her adaptation of the workout, which is going to be super hard for her, and I'm going to do my version. And I've done those things, and I'm like, shit, they're like keeping the pace, and I can't keep the pace, and it's like, okay. And if I would have the mindset like, but they were cheating or they're rep shaving, it's like, no, that's not the thing. They're getting the same stimulus,
right?
But it's me that I'm not keeping my stimulus on the point. So
how important is it for you as our leader, as a leader, for your coaching staff to be on kind of the same page, like in terms of like everybody has kind of their own coaching style, everybody's like voice is different. When it comes to members coming in and asking, can I row instead of run today? Can I do, would you prefer all of your staff to kind of have the same or similar answers when it comes to like, scaling up or down? Or do you feel that because like, let's say somebody comes in and like, oh, Rebecca's coaching today, then I'm definitely not going to have to run. Or like, shit, Rickard's coaching today. I'm going to have to run, possibly double, and do burpees at the end. So how important is it for, the coaching staff to be on the same page in terms of that kind of like scaling methods and ideals?
Yeah, I think it's good for us to have a certain standard, and but then it comes down to everyone has like more or less deeper relationship with the members and understanding more. But that's something we work on constantly to get better at. And what I also work on, with every one of us is like just giving every one of us the same mindset to the workouts. Like, so we talk about like stimulus of the workout, how to, address this workout. What's the point of like the reps or whatever, or if we are targeting to measure something, for example. But and I think the more we have the same, let's say, mindset, it's going to bring more people forward in one sense. And I think it's great that we are different coaches and individuals and so on. So you get a bit of a different say input from everyone, which I think is nice. And sometimes your adaptation might be like really good and on spot for me, and it might be because you simply understand me better than someone else. So that could sometimes definitely be the case, but as long as the mindset is the same, that, hey, how can we keep the stimulus and keep you going? And then it doesn't become like even a question of like who I'm going to be able to, row instead of this or whatever. Every member just knows that the coaches here just want my best to get the most out of my stimulus, depending on a bit more my goals. So.
You hear the question a lot, is that good? Was that good? And I never really know how, unless it's like something super specific, like I made, I was like seeing correcting like a deadlift or something like that. Like, let's say, some people like to ask, was that good? Is that good?
Yeah. And I really, like the time. Maybe.
Yeah. And I never really know how to answer that without sounding like, because, my generally my go-to answer is like, yeah, for you, it was great. But then it's like, it's kind of like a backhanded compliment, versus, you know, for you, that was awesome. But for like, I don't know, Jane over there.
Compared to Fraser.
Exactly. You could do a little bit better.
Yeah.
So I really never know how to answer that. And I don't want to get all kind of, well, in the direction of your goal that you're heading into, you know, like you don't want to sound all the time like you're just kind of like regurgitating the same kind of talk, the same words. So I never really, what do you say when somebody asks that? Is that good?
Yeah, no, I usually connect it to if it's rounds or reps.
Yeah.
Or if it's so if it's rounds or reps, I would say, yeah, you did the 3 rounds we set as a goal.
Yeah.
Or, you know, you managed to do it below 20 minutes like we set as a goal.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it's like somebody might not hit the goal. So it's like, oh, it took 22 minutes. And it's like, hey, we did a miscalculation of something. But, you know, we learned so much about from that.
Yeah.
So, you know, how can we not possibly win from that? So, because now we know more about ourselves. It's just,
yeah.
I can just take the workout again from yesterday. My goal was to do it like in 20 minutes yesterday, and sub 20 minutes. After the first round, I was like, let's go for 22 minutes because it started to really be hard. So let's do 22 minutes. And I thought like, well, a general goal, I would still want to see like sub 20 minutes, but it's hard with those 100 meter runs.
Yeah.
But yeah, sub 20 minutes is awesome. And scale appropriately. So I didn't, just to the context, yesterday I did 60 calories on the air bike instead. So I might have gone for 50 calories per round instead, and then I would have made that goal. But now, you know, I went for 60 because I thought 60 is kind of good comparison to 800 meters. And then I did the squat cleans, and yeah, I landed at like 22.55.
Okay.
So I was like, okay. So the squat cleans went really good, but my cardio has like I haven't done so much of this high intensity stuff for many weeks now. So that was like, okay, you know, it decreased a bit. So that's why I miscalculated that a bit. And there's nothing wrong about it. It's just like I had some highlights too. Like I was able to squat clean with 90 kilos without any problems, you know. So it was a good feeling to do that. Like, oh, I feel strong in every fucking lift. So that was good.
Cool.
But yeah, so I learned. I didn't feel like, oh, I was such a failure or something. And I think sometimes I can also get caught in the wrong mindset, but I think yesterday I had the right, I guess. So
okay.
That's, I think, something that more people will benefit from too.
Okay, well, you must be really good at like not showing, because I've never like seen you like pissed off at a workout. I've seen myself leaving a workout very pissed. What, like, you're just walk away.
Yeah.
How long does it sit with you for?
No. So I used to play, you know, ice hockey for many, many years. And when you play sports and games, you learn, you know, that one part of playing a game is that you also lose sometimes. And I know some of my teammates were very bad losers, and sometimes that's seen as like something very good. And I can understand that, like, if you really fear losing that much, you will just do anything to win.
Right.
But it might work like short term in some games because what it gonna make you do is, you know, try to find shortcuts.
Yeah.
To become the best or win the game.
Yeah.
But this is not like there's no shortcuts that's gonna make me win the game. And
Right.
the game for me is the long-term game that I can be able to, run and do squat cleans when I'm 80 still. So it's I'm not gonna win long term if I do shortcuts now. I think that's the same thing when it comes to like those ice hockey games and so on. I know I like sometimes I had bad days, but mostly it was like, it was irritating to lose, but I was also like, okay, I need to really, I need to become better. I need to practice more. I need to, spend more time doing these things. I'm like, I need to, train smarter or whatever. But, I didn't go home and like, I was never like after a game, like sitting like, oh, fucking, and just being bad towards other people. So, again, that takes over everything for me then.
I have one last question for you. Something that came up yesterday with somebody, and he asked me, first he asked me, do you have a tip? And I was like, okay, I got no tips. But he's like, what's your tip about having a very strong mind, like in the context of a workout, having a very strong mindset. The will is incredibly strong, but your body just gives out, or you just don't have that strength anymore. What advice can you give to a new member or somebody newer into fitness that has a very strong will, a strong mindset, but they just are not physically strong enough yet? Give a tip.
It's a good question. I'm thinking like other situations in life where you have the same thing, where you want more, but you just can't. So let's put that into context of some other stuff, like saying, I really want to make $1 million a year, like how should I get there? Right. Well, you're not gonna be able to just do $1 million just because you worked the first day, right? So, but you wouldn't be disappointed like, I worked today, but I didn't make $1 million. Right. No, okay, I worked today. I'm on the way to that $1 million. But I guess in this context, it might also be like, I really want to just continue, but I can't step up, or I can't, I can't pick that up. I just need to breathe now. And that's a part of the learning and growing that you're doing. But I think sometimes maybe putting that into context of what other parts in life would I say, like, why am I not just in Paris yet? Well, you haven't even entered the plane. So don't be like, you don't have to put so much pressure on yourself that you haven't that you're not there today, but you're on the way. You already packed your bag, you're already on the way to the airport. So but yeah, it can be frustrating sometimes when you want more and you simply can't want more. And there are so many situations where you have that in life. Where your mind wants to do something, but you just can't. How often do we don't feel that when we're just like naturally tired? And like, I would really want to read that book or something, but it's like, no, I'm gonna fall asleep. So it's just good. Acknowledge that, like, how does it feel now? And then, see how that feels like next time. And what's my mind doing in this moment? Absolutely. No, it's cool. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Glad that you're back. I saw your resting pulse is now, or your podcast pulse is like 56. Is that good? I think that's pretty good for being in a like operational mode. Yes. Yeah, I think it's pretty good. Yeah. for those listening or watching, maybe you can put down your pulse, like
when you're listening to this.
your resting pulse in the comments, because I did this poll just I think it was on Instagram, and for the people that didn't do like regular CrossFit and so on, their resting pulse, like when they're sleeping, was like 65 to 70, and I was like, like I'm at 40, sometimes 35.
Yeah.
So it's interesting seeing. Okay, cool. Thank you, Rebecca.
Pleasure. See you next time.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Being on a podcast with you.
Pitfall is too much of that.
The writing to me is it's a compulsion.
I was one of those hard workers that
Quite honestly, the fitness industry and the sport performance industry has probably done a better job in looking at nutrition as it impacts it than